Hey everybody, and welcome back to Jaraci Cup 5. Gonna continue some coverage of the group stage here. Actually, the group stage finished last night, and I just played my first bracket games today, but never too late to cast. This is gonna be between Werhunter and God Hates Weebs. And the stream just died, that's pretty funny. Oh, it came back, okay, good. Match 1 is God Hates Weebs' pick. He's gonna pick Coalition and Firebase Krill, and Werhunter is gonna be the Galzian on this map right here. Firebase Krill, I think, is a common pick for God Hates Weebs. He really likes it because he can get his heavy air out here. But what I'm interested to see in this map is Werhunter, actually, because he has shown he's not really that bad of a player. And who knows what he's been doing between cups here, so there's always possibly some surprise coming out from this guy here. God Hates Weebs, I think, a lot more predictable. But that's exactly what I want to see, is did Werhunter do his research? Does he know what he needs to do against God Hates Weebs? It looks like it's going to be skim first here, no ref mode. A little bit of a unique build. We don't tend to see this kind of thing from Galzian. The carrier is just kind of trying to thwack all of the salvagers on the way. God Hates Weebs, meanwhile, probably doing SC first. I can't count the stack. I think this RU miner is a little bit late, but maybe... No, actually he's got that really nicely optimized, I think. No, he is a little bit late. So I think he needs to mine RUs a little bit faster when he does this, but LAV Fab comes out, should see a probe coming as well. This is a build that Descara taught him, so always happy to see it. I think he was doing it the way that he would have in JC4 though, which is where you don't need to put four salves on, where you don't need to put a salve on RUs. As to your question, by the way, no, I don't think Last Rites did. He ended up having to leave the tournament, so unfortunately all of the games against him are forfeits. Probe gonna chunk up this, or gonna get chunked by this base runner here. He gets out at 2 HP. You madman. Always nice to see that. 6 salves up, so he's fully saturated on the main, starting to fill out some salves on the second. And I'm sure he'll put 1 on CUs, 1 on RUs. This is what was taught to him. Welcome to the slept-in lands, I guess. Nice. Well, the first weekend was Easter. That's why I set 2 weekends for the group stage. He for sure could not play on the first weekend though, so it was always a bit questionable if he would get his games in. Sandskim are doing excellent scouting here for Werhunter, but I gotta say I don't like his build terribly much because it's AS coming out very late here, still on 1 base. Probe goes down for God Hates Weebs, sees this PC floating here, probably not going to be ref mode in that case. I think God Hates Weebs knows that. But AAV Fab is going to start for him first. And I think, again, this is something that Descara taught him, is like, look man, you're going to be pressured in the early game, you really need to be getting AAVs. 5-man groups, well it'd be interesting. I think we would only advance 2 still. The reason why we advanced 2 from every group, even though we had 6 groups here, is because we wanted to make sure that it wasn't like extremely stressful to win group stage matches, because otherwise, like, let's say we only advance 1 from like 5 of the groups here. First off, a lot of players would have just gotten screwed because, you know, 2 players from each of the groups are quite good. And unfortunately only 1 of them would be able to move up. But also, when you're playing your matches, imagine how sweaty you'd be, being like, man, if I lose this, I'm out of the tournament, essentially. I'm down to the lower bracket, so... Instant siege here. Wow. This is quite unique from Werhunter. I've never seen anything like that exactly. AV Fab is done, fighter and gunship's on the way, production upgrade is going to be following just behind, but pretty good timing there, and we have AVs out. So, I like this from God Hates Weebs. He saw this PC floating in the middle here. This could be ref mode, but it usually isn't. And sure enough, AS Tech came out first. Now, it's kind of unusual to see ref mode come after that without any pressure, but that is what happened. But I feel like getting the AVs is not a bad read at all from God Hates Weebs. He's also playing Coalition this game, mind you, so he's got this turret. I actually should have mentioned that. I think he mains Soban, so... Definitely wanting to be defensively minded here, and I think that's going to work out nicely for him. On the downside, though, 1 artifact does get taken by Werhunter, who is now picking up his second. And it's also kind of uncommon these days to see Galzian players go for early artifacts if they don't do ref mode first. So... This is kind of a non-standard build, but I'd say it's working for Werhunter, who's getting defenses 2. God Hates Weebs doesn't even have heavies 1, so this actually could be an issue for him. He will lose any battles that are 1-on-1, but this is even going to be 2-on-1, so... Probably wants to just kind of smoke it, get out of there. He does have the faster unit after all, so... Oh, but this is great. Look at this. I love the little pressure on the base runner here. These assault ships are kind of out of position. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but again, you got to realize he can smoke out this AS as well. So there's a chance that he could actually kill this BR, which would be really big for him. Health on this unit, of course, goes down really quickly. Good use of the high ground. I'm liking this. Happy to see this kind of stuff from my teammate in BC too. You know, I want to see him owning because I've put my tournament life in his hands, if you will. Base runner hiding underneath the smoke, that's quite clever. And if he pops heal, there's definitely going to be a chance that it survives here. Got it, Sweep's just going to solo down this BR, I like it. He is going to get it, so that's quite impactful. Obviously, he was never going to win this fight, but if he can stop the BR, that's good damage. Probably want a turret down here at this point. This turret doesn't get as much high ground as I imagined it would. Yeah, that's what I was saying too, and I think maybe that base runner could have survived, but no heal was popped indeed. I really like this variation of God Hates Weebs style as well, by the way, because he used to always, if you remember, he used to always go for like gunships or straight into bombers or something, but Strike Fighter and gunship, really potent in the early game, and that's what I want to see him doing. And this siege cruiser is out in the middle, completely undefended, so it looks like Werhunter has not exactly done his research. He understands at this point that air is a possibility. He's getting MS tech, but if God Hates Weebs find this, this is going to be a juicy target for his strike fighters. And the gunship can either wail on these assault ships or maybe go chunk up the main base a little bit here. And that looks like what he's interested in. But this ought to be his target, I would say. No, 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 you don't want to do that. Strike Fighter's going to target the PCs here. I've got to say, that seems like a mistake to me, especially because 2 PC really kills Strike Fighters quickly as well. In fact, it kills everything air pretty quickly except for bombers. This Strike Fighter here, for example, going to go down. Good damage coming out on the eco, though, so I mean, I can't exactly be too mad about that. But look at this. This is 2 BRs and a base runner. Yikes, he's going to lose the gunship. Ah. Oh, no. Saying air is trash now. Well, I don't know about that. Although, as you can see, the siege cruiser did go down. I didn't catch... No, it didn't. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yikes. This is a pretty juicy barrage as well. You never want to just sit in patch, or sit in barrage in patch, because it has quite a lot of damage output, and you can see this SC taken down to half health by that already. Obviously, if the barrage can charge up and fire again, you know, we're going to be looking at dead PCs. But that's a real shame, man, because... Or dead SC, sorry. That's a real shame because obviously, obviously God Hates Weebs knew that SC was there and he saw the assault ships too. I feel like that's really a kind of juicy target. And the gunship can, you know, do damage to salvagers and then kind of back away once it gets low, but... When you see your enemy's army out on the field here, you gotta realize air is basically like free damage against an unprotected army, but it has to recharge, you know what I mean? So that was really kind of a bad committal of air there, which is unfortunate to see because his play was actually quite clean before that. Gonna focus down the siege cruiser. I do like that choice quite a lot. He can fight the AAVs with these, the assault ships with these AAVs, but that siege is really his big problem. It goes down. Missile ship's in the hood now, though. Gets a shot off, but no kills. Got 8 Weebs on top of the micro there, and he's going to be teching bombers already. I didn't see that tech coming out, that's my bad, but he does have bomber tech on the way. More siege coming out. Bombers actually very good against cruisers, and they're able to ignore moderate anti-air as well. That's the really big advantage, I think, of bombers. If his opponent had teched interceptors, I'd be really worried at this stage, but that's not going to be what happens. Kind of a bad barrage there, if you ask me. Yes, that's true. That is true. We do expect to see armor 3, and there it is. On the coalition, or yeah, the Galzian units. My goodness. SC comes out here. God Hates Weebs ready to move up onto a third. Usually on this map, you want the SC to go over here because carriers get trapped actually really easily. It's kind of funny. Carrier just gets like stuck there. Uh-oh, he's gonna move in. That's always a bit of a risk. This is one reason why Discara kind of dislikes this map in some ways, but at the same time, it's also one of his favorites. Oh boy, God hates Weebs, the Magician strikes again. Bomber gets out on 67 HP. I say that because he really is like a freaking magician. Like, he just does not lose bombers, and I never understand how it works. Artifact Extraction came out, by the way, for God hates Weebs, who could put down a turret here, but it doesn't look like he's interested. I think having a turret there actually might have won him that fight. Range upgrade coming out on Werhunter's Siege. He also got air tech, you notice, but he didn't build any. Air tech would be great for him here, because what he needs to do now is he really needs to stop God hates Weebs from having air superiority. Missile ships counter bombers in packs like this, but they do not really get you good field control, because bombers can come over here still, bombers can come around here. And interceptors are a really good choice against any kind of heavy air, really, but oh my gosh, now that is aggressive. Maybe because he's moving in with these AS too, but this push probably won't get anything done. Unless it gets in range of the salves, and if God hates Weebs doesn't kite them out, then that could be issues. Looks like he really wants to deny that artifact, and I can understand the reasoning here, because he's up against 2 already. He doesn't really want to get a 3rd extraction out. Uh-oh, these missile ships actually in really good position to capitalize against the strike fighters. But he's going to pull out with this carrier. I like that, because that stops the missile ships from doing any damage. And this artifact is going to get out. So this is actually pretty good for Werhunter. Drops the bomb here. He's able to dock 2. Oh no, the bomber! It's derping! Ah, that's the worst. Oh. Yikes. That's something that happens with, that's something that happens, unfortunately, with bombers, is that they don't dock properly. And we've been looking into how to fix this, but we don't really know how. Yeah. See that? He has to make, like, 1 turnaround before he can dock for some reason. And this guy was given a dock order, but he should really drop a bomb first. I think he still has his ammo in him. These skims want to get up on this AS, the SC here. And normally this would not be an issue because the SC can fight and there's a turret there, but actually in this case I'm a little bit worried because the SC is low on health, but it looks like these skims are going to get cleared up. Being low on health, by the way, is a symptom of this siege cruiser being allowed to live in the beginning of the game. Well, it's not this one, but you know what I mean. Ints are out though. Good damage on God hates Weebs' carrier here. Power 2 is on the way. Railfab looks like he's ready to move into the late game, but he's kind of getting hammered on here. Yeah, it's a bug with bombers, but it's very specific. They have to make a pass and then they can dock, and I don't know what the reasoning for that is. Gunships don't do it, so. But like almost always, I see them like make a pass and then come back and dock. They don't want to dock at the first moment here. Looks like damage on this SC is gonna be capitalized on. Again, you really need to be moving when you're under a barrage and patch. God hates Weebs just kind of gonna try to tank it here, but this is a bad fight for Werhunter because he's going to be under PC or SCAA, and he's getting hit by multiple strike fighters here, so this is probably not a win. Fun ships, dude, I thought you said that on purpose. Actually, that's really fun. Bomber coming out here, but he's going to die, actually. I think he got killed by the base runner, who's now at very high veterancy. And you know what, funnily enough, that could actually play a big role in this game because the artifact count is 4-1. So if God hates Weebs gets 1 more artifact scored on him, he loses. So that's kind of a big deal here. Siege is just kind of chilling still. This carrier really wishing he could attack these high ground units, but they're just going to slip right past him. And double MS here, of course, always able to use barrages. You mentioned earlier a game, oh my gosh, precision bombers, yeah. This is actually probably going to end the game here, because God hates Weebs has really got not a very good option for dealing with that. Anyway, you mentioned a game that you were really happy people are experimenting with new builds. Yikes, what the heck? What a float. Anyway, you're really happy people are experimenting with new builds, and I've got to agree. I really would like it if people would learn some builds, because I feel like a lot of the people experimenting don't really know how to do the meta builds yet. But what I want to see is people learn to do the usual builds, use that to kind of get better, and then start experimenting with crazy stuff. Because that's always fun to watch. No, it doesn't shoot faster, it's just worse at the barrage roll. I think it has to do with I think it has to do with Coalition Siege being locked behind our assault cruiser tech. And so the idea is that you have to take a longer time to get to it. By the way, very bad fight for God 8's Weebs' strike fighters here. No ground-based anti-air to speak of, and there's missile ships on the field, so definitely going to lose pretty hard against those interceptors. Siege cruiser going to go down here, I would expect. Gotta say, I really like Werhunter's choice of keeping the base runners with the army, but I'm not sure if they used heal at all, but it isn't going to matter. God 8's Weebs chooses to GG out of this series, or of this map that is, and he will die. After all, for the coward, there is no life, right? Ha! And we're going to move into map 2 now, which is going to be Werhunter's pick. Oh, no spoilers. I don't know how this match finishes. I ain't spoiled myself. Werhunter picking Galzian. God 8's Weebs going to pick Coalition again, so no mix-ups on the factions. And Werhunter is going to pick now the Boneyard. Which will be an exciting game too. Boneyard, I think, is a good map for Galzian if they get the one spawn, which they do, because it opens up options for going for rail rushes here that are really, really strong. And it's not to say the rail rush is impossible on this side of the map, but you've got to be paranoid when you play Coalition getting this spawn against Galzian. Like, you know what could be coming, and so I think that that's probably going to, in a high-level game, sort of slow down the options that Coalition has got because they feel the need to be a bit more defensive. I mean, honestly, I don't think it'll play a role in this series here, but it's something to keep in mind when you're playing at the top level. Oh, no, this is actually group stage. So it's just a, just like a get as many games as you can out of the two. We haven't moved on to casting brackets just yet. I agree, though. If I had put only 2 replays into, like, or if I put 3 replays into the thing and not had any more, you would definitely expect that whoever won the first one won the second as well, but because they're best of 5. But I do my best to avoid that. Looks like SC first again from God 8's Weebs. I didn't check to see if he put an RU self first, but based on the positioning here, I'm gonna say he probably didn't. I think this guy's his first salve and this is his second. So all 4 of the starting salves went on to CUs here again. So a little bit slower than it could be, but it's probably okay. Here comes the probe. Whiskey make brain no work well. Yeah, I agree with that. After all, it's literally poison. Hot take. LEV Fab finishing for God 8's Weebs now. This probe just kind of zooming across the map here, wants to see the position of the carrier. And this actually is going to be some kind of a rush from Werhunter. But again, tech is quite late. This might be a reaction to the fact that you used to be able to play this way, but AV rush was something that you would do sometimes, but otherwise you wouldn't really get AV tech. But these days AVs are very common, and if they run into your skims, you're going to have a bad time. So I think that Werhunter probably could improve his play by getting research a little bit faster, but it is going to be railguns. Now I'm excited about this because this is my favorite build. Probe finds the PC and the base runner, but actually manages to get out. That was a lot of damage that it took, but it's safe. That's really big information for God 8's Weebs to have. So what he wants to do now is he wants to check to see if his opponent has like a PC coming out. So you just leave the probe floating over the second, or over the second, and see if the PC comes back to it. And that will tell you when your opponent is getting tech. Or sorry, when he's getting eco. Yeah, and look, that's where he's headed. You also might want to check out the carrier to see what tech it is that you're up against. But definitely putting down a turret here would not be misled. And I think once he sees these skims, he will do it. And he has AV tech done, so he's going to start building some AVs. But he techs into fighter and gunship anyway? Looks like he's not sure what he wants to do. Teching into fighter and gunship at this stage is quite risky, because if you end up against a 2 PC attack, your air won't do really anything against the army. We've wondered actually if there's a possibility that air can be good here because it can damage the eco on the backside, but no testing of that just yet. So I feel like air is really risky in this scenario unless you know better than me, which is always possible. you know how I am. It's actually assault rails being produced here from Werhunter, which is interesting to see. He's getting armor upgrades really early as well, so it looks like actually he doesn't want to rush, he just wants early artifact pressure here, but I gotta say that seems a little bit questionable. Carrier production timed very nicely with fighter and gunship this time from God 8's Weebs. And just more AVs coming out across the map, that's what he needs. But I am still a bit worried about this, because in this case it might work out well. There's no second PC, we could be seeing PC snipes come out here, but I don't know, man, this is a little bit risky. AV just set to guard order on this BR, I kinda like that. Because it made sure that it was in position when the fighting started. Smoking up to these AVs is not necessarily a mistake, but he can't really chase them, so this AV, I think, is just kind of throwing its life away for nothing. Probe does finally go down, but he saw the PC up here right before, which is kind of the critical information. But that AV got thrown away. This one's going to get thrown away too. I'm starting to get a little worried here. Air is on the way, though. And this BR might actually extract, although it looks like it's getting chased by skims, so that's probably a fantasy. ARs are in the hood, but there's no heavy rails, so ARs can fight carriers, but very, very slowly. I'd say there's really little threat on the field right now for Werhunter. And once air comes out, he could be punished for having rails exposed on the map. In fact, if I were God 8's Weebs, I might have started with a gunship in this case because he saw the rails out in the open. He is going to start building one now, but it's going to be out pretty late. I think they have a build time of like 50 seconds or something like that, which is quite long. So I don't know about that. Artifact comes out for Werhunter. That's now 2-0. Not going to get an artifact on this side. I'm actually thinking maybe a turret might have been fine here, but I do have caster vision, of course. We know that these ARs aren't here. If they had gone in, that would have been a dead turret, and then you kind of just waste the CUs. So I think I respect his choice. As for moving the base runner out, though, that might have been a bit too aggressive. Hold up, guys. I gotta text my mom. Asking how my final went today. Very well, by the way. Mom, watch me live. Strike Fighter's gonna fly over the base runner and then fly over the PC. That seems like a lot of damage to be taking. But the gunship does find the ARs here. Yikes, there's actually a missile ship here. The other thing you gotta note is that you won't kill a PC until you have, I think, 5 Strike Fighters, and even then it takes micro to keep the Strike Fighters alive. So that was quite a throw of Strike Fighters. But he did get a lot of rails dead. I'm wondering what the unit's lost looks like here. Actually, just quite bad in every way. Yikes. ARs are actually kind of cheap on RUs, so not a whole lot of value there, and Strike Fighters are very expensive units. Also, thank you. Yeah, I definitely was not too worried about these finals because I'm doing German, which I'm very fluent in German. I'm not really worried about that at all. Linguistics, which was interesting, but it's an intro level class, and then Computer Science 235. But like, I'm already making a video game. Like, I know C++ very, very well, so 235 was not exactly a challenge for me. It's like it's not intro level computer programming, but it's still pretty basic. So feeling good about that. Okay, here's a question, guys. Why is Wednesday spelled so stupidly? Uh-oh, Strike Fighter taking some damage here. Or a gunship, sorry. He's just gonna insta-dock. I kind of respect that choice, but these Strike Fighters really have a death wish, so they're just gonna insta-dock too. So that was kind of like the doubt face from London Wire. Oh my gosh. Ouch. Nah, man, it's actually going pretty well. We nearly have a working multiplayer build right now. At that point, I'll probably start making videos about it, and you'll marvel at my Marvel ability. But yeah, launching Strike Fighters and then docking them instantly is really kind of a sign that you're afraid. You know what I mean? But just launching the Strike Fighters when missile ships are on your carrier, that's never ideal. And I kind of criticized Discara pretty heavily for doing this in the group stage, but yeah, it's kind of suboptimal. Space is fully saturated here. Because it comes from Nordic and means Day of Odin. Wow. That's cool. I say I'm taking a linguistics exam, and here you are, you know, teaching me about the history of words. That's pretty cool. Wednesday. So I guess the name for Odin was like Vednes or something. Vednas, whatever. Or Vednas, maybe. Vednas. That sounds like a Germanic word. No, wait a minute. The Nordic word for Odin should be Odin. Hold up. Strike Fighter's gonna go for PC snipe here. You're joking. That's amazing. Vodness. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Whoa, what am I seeing on my screen? These gunships. A little bit inaccurate today, it seems. PC does not get killed here, and it's going to be back up to full health pretty soon. If Goddess has a bomber, yeah, this is a time to launch the bomber for sure. I don't know why that's not in the air already. Because he's got gunship trying to kill the observer. Yeah, I feel personally attacked. He's got bombers. I mean, this PC could be dead right now, but this is really kind of some lazy Strike Fighter micro. He needs, I think, 5 to kill this thing, but it might honestly be 6. Haven't looked at the math for that in a little bit of time. And, you know, he also didn't really micro to not take losses from the PC anti-air, and he had bombers stacked. So I feel like this is really kind of a sloppy attack right here. Carrier, meanwhile, feeling pretty confident to push out. Power 3 on the way, and 3 artifacts are scored as well. No heavy rails in this composition, and I've seen a lot of new players do that. Especially because heavy rails are freaking expensive. Let's face the facts here. But you really, I think, want to have those out when you're moving your carrier, unless you know that you're in a very dominant position. But, I mean, to be honest, he's got 3 artifacts, power 3 on the way, lots of anti-air, so he kind of is in that position, but he doesn't know about bomber tech yet. And he doesn't actually know the state of this carrier, so this is a little bit risky, but only power 2 over here. So Goddess going to have to back away from this. This gal's gonna carry, he just doesn't even care, he's just running right past him. Okay, here he goes. Coming in for the chase. 3 in weapons, 1 in range, 3 in movement. I think this is quite competent here. Double bomber lands on the PC. That is going to be a kill. Strike Fighters will collect on it. Anything from Goddess Weebs? Well, this game, but I don't think so otherwise. No DMs from him. It says it's still offline, so. But anyway, Goddess Weebs in a really bad state now. He might just get this carrier, you know, run on. I'm thinking this PC snipe was quite good for him, but I think actually, he needed the bombers to be, oh my gosh, they both died. How did that happen? I kind of missed that. He needed the bombers actually to be here damaging the enemy's attack, I think. But, you know, not gonna happen. Goddess Weebs does go down. And that series is going to go 2-0 for Werhunter, so that's quite impressive. I know Goddess Weebs is not really a bad player at all, so to get this, he died as he lived, making air. But yeah, this is quite impressive from Werhunter. But which, by the way, I say his name as if it's German. I don't actually know. It might be like Werewolf, Werhunter, but I say Werhunter because I feel kind of cool saying it. Anyway, 2-0 from Werhunter. I'm quite impressed. I like it, A-Game. I like it. Well, let's check out some replays from Phoenix, yo.